This story takes place in a bustling, glittering city where a massive and renowned fashion enterprise called Victoria House stood tall. Before we begin, imagine losing everything you own in a single second, just because someone thought you were too poor to matter. Inside that very building, a poor young girl named Lily worked hard every single day. Lily was an extremely hardworking, honest, and dedicated young woman. She poured her sweat and blood into the company from dawn until late at night. Her only goal was to pull double shifts so she could afford the expensive medicines for her bedridden mother. She also needed to pay the rent for their tiny apartment on time. In stark contrast, the company's owner, Victoria, was an extremely arrogant, proud, and ruthless woman. Victoria didn't consider poor and hardworking people to be human at all. In her eyes, the underprivileged were mere insects serving as dust on the path of her grand glory. One day, the company hosted a massive, prestigious corporate gala. It was attended by all the billionaires and prominent figures of the city. Lily was assigned the duty of serving coffee and tea to the guests. Exhaustion made her legs tremble. Just then, as a VIP guest abruptly stepped backward, Lily lost her balance. A tiny drop of tea fell onto Victoria's extremely expensive, world-class designer coat. That was it. Victoria's balloon burst. She went utterly wild with fury as if she had lost everything she owned. She didn't just stop at a regular scolding. She made a horrific decision to humiliate Lily brutally in front of the entire world. Right in front of senior executives, managers, and esteemed guests, Victoria raised her finger. She shouted with utter disgust. "People like you, poor and foul-looking, have zero place in this high-class society and fashion brand. You only belong to sweeping the streets. Get out of my sight right now, you're fired. And remember, I won't let you get even a maid's job anywhere else in this city." Tears of humiliation and helplessness welled up in Lily's eyes. But she firmly pressed her lips together and didn't let a single word escape. She knew that crying or arguing with this cruel woman at that moment would only add to her degradation. She quietly picked up her small purse. She walked out of the massive, shining building. Outside, dark clouds loomed and a heavy, stormy rain began to pour. That cold night, when Lily reached home and hugged her mother, a fierce, raging fire ignited deep inside her heart. It was a powerful drive for vengeance and determination that would completely crush Victoria's blind pride and arrogance into dust. For the next 5 years, Lily utilized every single second of her life with precise focus. Working day and night, staying awake through sleepless nights, she built a brand new digital and design startup. She started it from a tiny rented garage. The early days were brutal and filled with obstacles. Banks rejected her loan applications. A few close partners betrayed her right when it mattered. Many nights passed where Lily had to sleep hungry without a moment of rest. But her relentless hard work, brilliant business strategy, and absolute honesty slowly began to show results. In her own company, she first hired those individuals who had been thrown out by corporate giants. They were the ones labeled as poor or unqualified. She treated them all like family. Before long, within just a few years, Lily's small startup grew and transformed into a top-tier multinational corporation in the country. Her name began to be counted among the most successful young CEOs of the city. Meanwhile, the wheel of time turned. Victoria's empire began its downward spiral. Victoria's blind arrogance and poor decisions had tied a blindfold over her eyes. Faulty investments, terrible management, and severe market betrayals dragged her company into millions of dollars of debt. It pushed her straight toward bankruptcy. Banks froze all her assets and accounts. Even her closest business partners fled away. Amidst despair and absolute disgrace, Victoria was forced to schedule a meeting with an unknown, mysterious multinational buyer. That buyer showed interest in acquiring her sinking company. The historic day of the acquisition meeting arrived. Victoria sat in her grand conference room, trembling with tension as she awaited the millionaire buyer. It was the very same room where she had humiliated and thrown out Lily 5 years ago. The heavy, expensive wooden doors slowly swung open. An extremely elegant, confident woman dressed in a finely tailored, expensive suit stepped inside. She was accompanied by her prominent corporate lawyers. It was none other than Lily. Lily had now become the chief executive officer of her own personal empire. When Victoria looked up in terror, she recognized the person sitting in her chairperson's seat. It was none other than the poor former employee she had once thrown out. The color of her face turned paper white. Her breath choked in her throat. The signing pen slipped from her hand, shattering against the glass table. Lily sat back comfortably. She looked at Victoria with a cold, piercing smile. She gestured for her to sit down with a wave of her hand. She spoke in an ice-cold, frozen tone. Victoria, exactly 5 years ago, right in this room, you threw me out into the stormy rain just because I was poor. You told me I only belonged to sweeping the streets. You proudly thought you had completely destroyed my life forever. But today, I have cleared all your bank debts and multi-billion-dollar liabilities and legally acquired your entire company. You now have exactly 2 minutes to walk out of this building because every single inch and every single wall of this property belongs to me now. Victoria collapsed into her chair as the absolute picture of shock, trauma, and humiliation. She was unable to utter a single word. Security guards stepped forward, threw her belongings out, and escorted her out of the building forever. Never look down upon anyone who is poor, weak, or struggling. The wheel of time turns very quickly, and today's weak person can become tomorrow's powerful force. Pride always has a downfall. If you enjoyed this heart-shaking story, please like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel hitting the bell icon for more thrilling and moral stories. Thank you.